Yo, what's going on, everybody? You're watching Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Appreciate everybody for clicking on today's video. We got to talk about how the New York Knicks control their own destiny, and if they want to be the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, it is up to them. Before we do that, though, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We put out free videos every single day on your New York Knicks. And even when we call off for being sick, because we don't feel all that well, we're still going to get a mic and a camera to talk about the latest news. So subscribe, turn those notifications on, and I hope you're ready for playoff watch parties, because nobody does it bigger and better than Knicks Now by Chat Sports. Let's start with this. Following the Knicks win on Sunday against the Wizards and the the Boston Celtics losing to the Minnesota Timberwolves 102-92. I still always want to mix up the Knicks and the Timberwolves, but the Knicks win on Sunday. The Timberwolves win on Sunday as well. The Boston Celtics lose on Sunday to the Timberwolves. The Knicks are now just a half game back of the Boston Celtics, who currently sit in the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. It's a big deal. You want to have the ability to have home court advantage if you do match up against the Boston Celtics in round 2. We saw what the Knicks were able to do when they did not have home court advantage last year against the Celtics in round 2, but I'd rather have that extra kind of vote of confidence knowing that if that series did go to Game 7, the Knicks would be playing at Madison Square Garden and not the fake garden named the TD Garden in Boston for a Game 7. So you're a half game back. And the Knicks, they have 10 games left on their schedule. The Boston Celtics, they have 11 games left on their schedule. The Celtics have the 3rd toughest schedule based on winning percentage across the NBA left, whereas the New York Knicks have the 9th toughest schedule compared to the rest of the NBA. The winning percentage of teams that the Celtics will play is a .544, and for the New York Knicks, it's a .530. So not too much of a difference, but the Celtics do have a tougher schedule the rest of the way. I'll just say this, and it's a fact. The Knicks control their own destiny. If the Knicks were to end the season going 10-0, which would mean they would go 16-0 the rest of the way, they would hold the number 2 seed. And I think as a sports team, a player, anything in the sports world, and life in general, you want to control your own destiny. You want to have fate be in your hands and not having to rely on the Boston Celtics losing any more games or anything in life that you cannot control. Well, now the Knicks have the opportunity to control their own destiny. And if they go and beat the Pelicans and the Hornets and the Thunder and Houston and Memphis and Chicago, Atlanta, and the Boston Celtics on March 9th, and then you close up the season against the Raptors and the Hornets, you will have the number 2 seed. Both teams do still have to play the Oklahoma City Thunder, so they both have to play the toughest team or the best team in the NBA based record-wise, but I could see this number 2 seed coming down to that final matchup on March 9th, where the New York Knicks will host the Boston Celtics. It'll be 1, a potential preview of the Eastern Conference semifinals, 2, kind of a tune-up for that, and really the last real test for either team in the regular season. After the Knicks do host the Boston Celtics on March 9th, they got to play the Raptors at home, and then they have to play the Charlotte Hornets at home. The Boston Celtics, after they have to travel to the Knicks, they close the season on a 2-game home stretch, 1 game against the New Orleans Pelicans, and then 1 game against the Orlando Magic. So the opportunity for the New York Knicks to grab hold and hold a strong clinch on that number 2 seed is in their own hands, and they just got to win more basketball games at this point than the Boston Celtics do. I'm pretty sure as well the New York Knicks now own the tiebreaker over the Boston Celtics for that number 2 seed. Let me double check that real quick. I saw it last night on Twitter. I should have bookmarked it. I didn't see it. I don't know if we're going to be able to find it on the fly, but I'm pretty sure the New York Knicks, if the Knicks beat the Pelicans Tuesday, the Knicks gain a half game on the Celtics, which puts us at a tie. Yes, the Knicks have the tiebreaker over the Boston Celtics. Let me double check that one more time. Yeah, here it is. With 9 games left, after Wednesday. This is from yesterday, yeah. Not just, this comes from Sleeper Knicks on Twitter. Go shout out to them. Give them a follow. It says with 9 games left for the Knicks and 10 left for the Celtics after Wednesday, the Knicks would only need the same amount of wins as Boston for the rest of the season to keep the 2 seed. Not just do the Knicks own the head-to-head tiebreaker versus Celtics, 2-1, but they also clinched the division tiebreaker, meaning if the Knicks and Celtics finish with the same record, the Knicks would be ahead in the standings regardless of the matchup against each other on April 9th. So that's important. So now I'm understanding it to a different degree. Even if the New York Knicks lose on April 9th versus Boston, they've already clinched the 3rd tiebreaker, which is a division record. The Knicks are currently 12-3 versus the Atlantic Division with just the Boston game left. The Celtics are currently 9-5 versus the Atlantic with Toronto and the New York Knicks. So yeah, at this point, you just got to continue to win games, and you don't necessarily even have to win that game against the Boston Celtics. I want to talk more about this coming up in a second. First, though, I got to give a major shout out to our proud sponsor of the show, Prize Picks. The playoff push is heating up, and tournament hoops are here. And there's no better way to cash in if you're right on the high-flying hoop action than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Every buck, every dime, and every win means more when you're playing on Prize Picks. And with their brand new Team Picks markets, you can now pick game winners, spreads, and totals on top of the player picks you already know. So cash in if you're right during all clutch buckets, slam dunks, and Cinderellas this spring with Team Picks on Prize Picks. Pick the winner straight up on Prize Picks. Who's going to win the next big basketball game? Who's going to win the fight? Back your takes with real money. I love making team picks on Prize Picks, and they just don't have to be individual games. If you click into team picks, you can even pick who will win the league, MVP, or other awards. It's just another way to pick the sports you love, all on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and pick your first game winner, spread, or total as the playoff push rolls on. And get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup when you use code CLNS. That's code CLNS to get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it feels good to be right. All right. So the Knicks, they control their own destiny. They win more games than the Boston Celtics the rest of the way. Even if the Celtics game is a loss for the New York Knicks, the Knicks will hold the tiebreaker and get that number 2 seed. I think earlier in the video, I said the Knicks had 10 games left and the Celtics had 11. It's actually 10 for the Celtics and 9 for the New York Knicks. I mean, that just kind of puts it into perspective of how close we are getting to the end of the regular season, and this is what we've been waiting for. I mean, we all knew the regular season. I know there's been some downs, a lot of ups. That 2-9 stretch feels like it was just yesterday. This team was built for the playoffs. This team was built to win in the playoffs. And one reason that I believe this team is better equipped in the playoffs this year is because they actually have legit depth. Jordan Clarkson is going to have a campaign-esque versus the Detroit Pistons last year in round 1 game in the playoffs. And major shout out to Jordan Clarkson. This is a guy that at the beginning of the season was in the rotation every single night, and he was playing some good hoops. And he was being a bucket getter off the bench for the New York Knicks. And recently, he somewhat found himself out of the rotation for the Knicks. But go over the past month, he's been inserted back into the rotation. And not only has he picked up where he's left off and done what he's done his entire career, which is score buckets, I feel like his compete level and overall effectiveness on the defensive end is there. So you have Jordan Clarkson, a proven scoring guard, off the bench. You have Mitchell Robinson, again, who I think is more healthy than last year and honestly just a better player than last year. You also have Jose Alvarado, who we all know and love. I believe he could flip a playoff game on his head with his intensity, his ability to press the ball, push the pace, get in the paint, and spray out to his teammates. You also have Mo Diawara, who, laugh if you want about a rookie coming in making a difference in the playoffs. He could defend. He could hit open shots. And when you're 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", like he is, and you can defend and you can knock down shots, you're going to be a part of a rotation. And that's not even counting Deuce McBride, who it sounds like he is pushing to get back onto the floor and get into action prior to the playoffs. There was a report a couple of days ago that we reacted to on the channel where we told you guys that McBride, had reached the point of taking contact at practice, and that's somewhat the final hurdle for these players to clear as they do come back from injury. So if you have a bench, and we're not even talking about Landry Shamet, who's been hurt as of late, and he's a guy that needs to play in the playoffs. His willingness and ability to defend, brings pace to the Knicks offense, even in the half court, and we've seen him catch fire from downtown and bring it back into ball games. I mean, you talk about Jose Alvarado, Jordan Clarkson, Miles McBride, Landry Shamet, Mohamed Diawara, Mitchell Robinson. I don't envision the Knicks playing 11 every single night, but if push came to shove and they had to, they absolutely could. This is a deep team, and I think it's just another year. And I know the starting five of Bridges, Anunoby, Hart, Brunson, and Towns hasn't yielded the best results this year, just like they didn't yield the best results last year. They're another year of being battle tested, another year of playing together. There is more chemistry there. And I don't want to say that Mike Brown's a better playoff coach than Tom Thibodeau, because I don't necessarily know if that's true. But I think that the willingness to adjust and try new things on the fly might give the advantage to Mike Brown in the playoffs. Got to see him get this team to the conference finals to say he's been a better coach, but overall, I think this team is a little bit more battle-tested, a little deeper, and overall a little bit better than what they were last year. And I think they might have some more success in the playoffs as well. I've said it all year. I've said it all year long. I'll continue to say it no matter how frustrating they are when they barely beat the Nets, or they barely beat the Pacers, or they barely beat the Jazz, or they barely beat the Nets. All those teams they barely beat. When the Knicks play their A game, I think their A game is better than any team in the Eastern Conference, and I believe their A game can go toe-to-toe with any team in the Western Conference's A game, and I'm always going to ride with my chips on the blue and orange. So the Knicks at this point, they hold their own destiny in their hands to get that number 2 seed. I think it's going to be huge. Important games down the stretch. Lock us in and subscribe, as we'll be going live for almost every single game the rest of the way.